Hey up, my fantastic friends. Hey up is Yorkshire for hello. Okay, what we've got up here is an 18 by 24 inch double prime canvas, and I've primed it again with some acrylic paint, a little bit of burnt umber and a bit of Payne's grey. Loosely mixed them up, thrown them on the canvas, thrown it all in, allowed it to dry, and I've sketched in a little bit of the composition we're going to do today. I've got my big old Yorkshire flag out. This is going to be a big old Yorkshire landmark. We're going to do Ribblehead viaduct. Okay, a little bit artistic license because we're going to make it bend, and we might put a little bit of a stream in there, but we're going to paint the basics of this great Yorkshire landmark. And why am I doing that? Well, I'm from Yorkshire, my flag's from Yorkshire, and two of my great mates, Sophie and Danny, are from Yorkshire, and I helped them out a little bit with a little bit of an art auction, and I'm going to share some of that info with you shortly. But first, let me bring you up to the canvas where we can start painting, and if you like it, give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe. You know what to do, folks. Happy days. Come on. As you know, this is completely and utterly dry now, so we can hit it with oil paints. What I've got is a 2-inch paintbrush there with some linseed oil and titanium white, 50-50, equally mixed, but you can use liquid white or magic white or clear gel or whatever you want to do. Right, we're going to go over the big mountain there, and it is a mountain, the highest mountain in Yorkshire, and I'll get more onto that as we progress in the painting. And I'll also tell you the nice story that I had with Danny and Sophie and the wonderful charity work that we did for the homeless angels, the homeless street angels in Leeds. It was an absolute fantastic gig. So I'll just throw in some colour up here first of all. Okay, that seems about right. A nice thin even coating of titanium white and linseed oil. Why do I mix linseed oil into the titanium white? Well, it allows us to blend colour up in the sky. I want down here to remain nice and dry, then we've got nice firm paint, but up in the sky we want some blender reaction, don't we? And the titanium white and linseed oil mixed just allows it to go on nice and easy, nice and slick, and a thin layer rather than massive amounts of paint. Saves money as well. Okay, why have I stained the canvas? Well, some of that warmth will show through the composition, and also when we paint with the white paint, we know that it is actually painted and none of that raw canvas is showing through. So what paints do I use? I use these Winsor & Newton's oil paints, that big old tube there of titanium white. It's coming to the end of its life, but it's lasted me about 6 months. Pretty good stuff, nice firm paint. I've noticed a little bit of a problem. This mountain here, and it is a mountain, it's the highest mountain in Yorkshire, it's Whernside, and it is just slightly too much in the middle of the painting for me, so I'm going to pull it a little bit further to the left, okay? And that's what we can do when we're painting. As you can see, Whernside is just a little bit too much in the middle. It was there, wasn't it? So we want it this side, and the viaduct's going to come around there. Ribblehead viaduct, beautiful, beautiful engineering landmark. Right, with this brush, just knock off any of the excess, and I'm going to hit a little bit of French ultramarine. Look at how much. There's not much there. Oh, that looks like a nice tree. Okay, so I'm just going to hit the canvas. Let's blend that out with a little bit of French ultramarine. I will mix in some other colours as we go along, but I want this initial paint to be on there, this initial start. Okay, get up into the corners and start working some of this sky. I love French ultramarine as a sky because it's a purpley colour, it's a reddy colour, it's a warm sky. And if you've ever been to Yorkshire, you'll know that the folk up here are lovely and warm, caring, straight talking. We'll call a spade, but we're pretty approachable. Anyway, let's just get this sky thrown in. Burnt umber tapped into this now, and you can see it will grey up the sky. It's a nice complementary colour to the blue, and it's also the same colour that we've got down here, so it will add a little bit more of a mysteriousness to the sky, if that makes sense. Just a little, and then we're going to tease it all out, blend it all out, move it all about, and then add some nice clouds, I think. Oh, look at that for a lovely tender sky. We put a little bit of burnt umber, which is the same colour down here, into the sky. That's a complementary colour to the blue, so it'll grey it off a little bit, and it'll make it look a little bit more atmospheric. We want the horizon line to be pale, and that will give us some depth and distance. Remember, we've got basically a third of the canvas with not really much going on. So we need to really work at that horizon line. We are going to put a few clouds up there, but for now I'm just going to tease all this together, take out all the brush strokes and make it nice and smooth. Clouds are so easy, they're so free and beautiful to paint. I've got a fan brush there, some titanium white and a tiny touch of bright red. I'm just using the corner of the brush and I'm touching on and I'm just pushing up, and I'm going to make not many clouds but just enough to put something up in the sky. You may see I've got a little bit of a tissue there as well. If I get too much of that sky colour in the brush, I can just wipe it off, okay? Or you can just turn the brush around and use the other side, which is what I usually do, okay? That's why they put a couple of sides on a brush. Okay, once you get your nice brush like that, when you get your nice cloud into a reasonable state, just take a soft brush and just tap the bottom, feather the bottom out into the sky colour. And that's why we need the liquid white or magic white or linseed oil in my case on there, because it'll blend nicely out into the sky there. And then we can put another layer of clouds on top of that if we so wish. So we're just sculpting Whernside Mountain, okay? Whernside, the massive summit up there. A little bit of titanium white with a touch of cad yellow, yellow ochre, a bit of burnt umber and whatever dirty colours we've got on the brush, and we're just sculpting it. A bit of titanium white down at the bottom mixed in with all that will give us a misty effect, and that's where we want. We're going to push it back, and also get your finger in there and just touch the top, just blend the top, make it look all fuzzy so we can't pick out the actual outline, but we know it's there, and that's what will trick his eye. Okay, wipe your finger off down at the bottom of the canvas. So a little bit of colour down here in the valley, and I'm just filling in some basic colours, a little bit of dark, a little bit of light, blending them together, really pushing the foliage colours in. In fact, when my daughter came into the studio just now to fetch me a nice refreshing drink, a little bit of Timothy Taylor's pure Yorkshire bitter, she said this looks like Harry Potter, you know, and I think actually Ribblehead viaduct with the mountain in the far side is definitely from Harry Potter, though I've not seen it. But if it is and you recognise it, let me know down in the comments. Cheers. Work on the viaduct itself. I've loosely put in the valley and some hills there, and I know there's not much of a water course that runs underneath the viaduct, but because this is my canvas and I'm using my artistic license, I'm going to put a little bit of a water course down in the bottom of the valley at some point. Okay, so with a little bit of yellow ochre and white and a touch of red, and I think there is a bit of raw sienna in there. Okay, I'm just going to push in the light parts of the stone, okay, the stonework of this viaduct. Don't worry, I'll neaten it all up as I take a step back, and we want it to be lighter obviously over here because it's further away and it's more distant, and it's that, and obviously darker here. All right, now I need to start placing in some of these bridgey parts. So we're just going to pull that down and pull it down. Okay, just get in loosely the colour, just the colour first, and we'll just set it up. Okay, these bridges, these arches want to be wider towards us and very narrow and very tight as we go away, as you can see that. Anyway, let's just start putting this in, neatening it up. Let's put some shadow work in. There we go, straight down, touch on, twizzle around and pull straight down. That's it. Maybe reload the brush. Do I need to reload? Probably yes. There.
This is exactly that work. Tonight to wash it off.
Let's fetch.
Yeah, fetch this one down and we'll start with this one.
So this is the first piece, and not only has he brought this, he's brought 4 more other pieces, all different styles and all equally brilliant. So go ahead.
Well, Dan's been a friend of mine since what? Nick the Saw. Playing on the beaches at Cromer.
35,
Fishing
12
and-
years ago.
Oh.
Mackerel fishing.
Yeah. Dan did an amazing piece for me in Sophie of the church we got married in Leeds. When I found out about this, I messaged Dan and straight away he said, yeah, no problem. Dan, you know, what got you into art? What's it all about?
Well, when I was a kid, I got told that I can't paint. So that just
And
gave
he
me
can.
So I got the determination to paint really and create some works of art. I've never really had an art lesson. I've just picked up some brushes and practiced, and here we are. Each piece of art that we've got in today is individual. It's oil painting on canvas, so there's nothing like it out there. So they're all one of a kind. I'm sure there's something that'll suit everybody's taste. So you know, please be kind, guys. You know, that's what it's all about.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you're watching the master down here paint a little stream on the Great Yorkshire Painting. I'm going to tell you what happened a few weeks ago. Mr. and Mrs. Yorkshire, my good old friends Danny and Sophie, reached out to me and they said, Dan, we're going to do a charity art auction. Do you want to be a part of it? And of course, I jumped at the chance. The charity is the Homeless Street Angels. It's a fantastic award-winning charity here in Leeds. They provide hot food, cold food, clothing and toiletries to the good folk of Leeds that have fallen on hard times. They also do art classes, which is great and something I'm interested in. It's a charity that gets no government funding, so all donations is greatly appreciated. Speaking of donations, I donated 5 original oil paintings to the auction, and all sold. Danny auctioned them all off and they sold the lot. I won't tell you how much they sold for, but it was a good price. You know, it's buyer-seller prerogative, right? And there was other works of art there, from Damien Hirst to David Hockney, and even a Yorkshire TV newsreader, Mikey 3D Media. What a guy he is. Now, I was so full of pride. It really means the world to me. So if you're doing another one, guys, you know where I am. Happy days. Yay! Happy days.
Oh, sorry, is it not a finger?
Okay, let's paint the train, guys. So I'm going to carefully put my little finger where it's not going to smudge that much. Now I know that there's not going to be much detail, but we do want a little something. So I'm just going to try and block in this. It's like a dark purple colour that I mixed into white. Just a touch, and then just across the bridge there. Like so. We'll work on this. It's going to be a bit tricky and a bit tedious, maybe a little bit up there, like that, because we want the spout there, like so. And then we'll add some gubbins on, some detail and stuff. We won't see much, but we want some what is it, a fender, coal is, and some cabins behind that, maybe a bit of a gap there. Like so, just draw it in. So it's just like drawing. Okay, I've really thinned out the paint, some linseed oil, and it just glides straight over this composition. And we can paint the glass panes in there, just like so. There we go. Get rid of some of that colour on the easel, and we can put in a few little indications of brickwork out here on the bridge, or the viaduct. It's the viaduct, yeah? Let's paint some smoke on this train here, this old steam train. So a little bit of grey colour made by a little bit of blue, a little bit of brown, into a lot of white. And then I put it on the brush, nice soft delicate old acrylic brush, wiped off most of the excess, and then I'm just going to delicately start to feather in up there a little bit of smoke, just like that. That easy. Look at that. That easy. We've created a little bit of steam and smoke from this train. With it being Yorkshire and all, I think it's only right we put a Yorkshire Rose in place. So on a fan brush, I'm taking a little bit of green, and over this rock right down in this corner, we're gonna just put in just a bit of greenery. I don't want a big rose bush, but a nice big Yorkshire rose bush somewhere like that, maybe. And we'll vary the colours, so get a little bit of yellow on there as well. And I'm not going to try and paint each individual leaf or flower, but just give us some colour down there to start with, and then we'll hit it with a smaller brush and try and build on a little bit of colour, like so. A little bit of white for the Yorkshire Rose. Just make them loosely into little rose shapes. Don't worry if they mix into the greens. It's all good fun. It's all good fun. Don't want too many of them. Maybe another one there. Okay, right. That. Now what we've got on this picture is a lot of action around this end. Nothing much there. Okay, we've got the rolling hills and things like that, but we need something there. Now usually on a landscape I might put a tree there or a big stone or something like that to focus your eyes into the centre of the picture. But since we're on top of a moorland, on top of a hill looking down into the valley and the viaduct in the distance and the big mountains and stuff like that, I think we could do with a signpost. Okay, so a big old wooden signpost, so a little bit of browny colours. Okay, and I'm just going to start this signpost in the sky so it breaks the horizon, and just jiggle this wooden post all the way down there, right to the land, like that. Take some of the lighter colours, and of course the light's coming from this side because the mountain dictates that, and we'll just touch on and use the brush. I'm using the brush pretty much like a palette knife. I'm just highlighting this side. I'm just rocking it a little bit there, okay, because the undergrowth will stop the light from hitting that part. And then we'll put a little bit of something here as well, maybe a signpost saying God's own county, God's own country. Oh, it's hold your breath time. And there, Yorkshire. I had to work backwards to get that in, to make sure it fit, and that it's perfect. Anyway, that's that. There's one more thing left to do, but before I do that, I want to give a shout out to my engineers. A little indication up in the sky, and we've got him flying over Whernside, the biggest mountain in Yorkshire. We've got him flying over the viaduct, over the steam train, over the Yorkshire Rose bush, over the Yorkshire post, over the Great Yorkshire landscape. We've of course painted in Kes, the little kestrel, and everybody knows what Kes means to us Yorkshire folk. Okay, we've done it. The Great Yorkshire painting done. Happy days. So all that's left for me to do is thank all my members, thank Mr. and Mrs. Yorkshire. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment, and if you do something like this, maybe from where you guys are from with your landmarks, pop it in the community post. But until next time, take care of yourself, stay safe, happy days, I say they.